Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. Hi everybody, this is Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota, and thanks for joining me for this episode of What's Going On. I just want to start off by saying thank you to everybody for a wonderful birthday. My birthday was this past Sunday, and to my surprise, the church sang to me, and you guys gave me a beautiful bouquet of flowers, and also the Polachek family had cookies for everyone as they left church, so it really felt like a great celebration. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And I'm 36 now, so. And I was joking with the congregation because I had my hair in braids because it was our dress in your camp clothes for Camp March. That was the theme for Sunday. And so when I go to camp, I wear my hair in braids often because this turns into a frizzy mess in the humid summer at camp, and so it keeps my hair contained. And so I said I was 36, but I kind of looked like I was 12, and so which is not a bad thing. Maybe if I Benjamin Button my as I get older, then that's not so bad. But just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciated the cards and the notes and the well wishes and all of it. That was really sweet. I definitely feel very blessed to be here at the church, which kind of goes into the theme of the sermon this past week. And we were talking about Jesus' words on the cross to his mother and to the beloved disciple. And when he looked at them standing next to each other, he said, "Woman, here is your son, and here is your mother." Partially to make sure that his mother was being taken care of, but also as this kind of indictment for all of us to care for one another as family. Sometimes we talk about, that this is my church family. And sometimes it can be a good thing, and sometimes it can maybe be not such a good thing when churches behave like family, because as you know, families come in all shapes and sizes, and families function in different ways. And so sometimes we have really healthy ways that we function as a family. And that's the things we kind of aspire to with the sermon this week, and the ways in which we include people, the ways in which we care for people, walk alongside people when they are in need, and celebrate with people when good things are happening. I mean, those are all the wonderful ways that we behave like a family, in the ways that Jesus was calling us to. And I shared some of my own experiences of what that's been like in the various churches I've been throughout my life. There's also a flip side to that, though, where churches can behave a bit like a family and become exclusive when you have new people come in, where they kind of close ranks and, who are you and what are you doing here? And, sometimes that's because churches are made up of one family, where quite literally everyone is related. That's always been kind of a fun joke as I go from church to church, is trying to figure, it's not a joke, but activity, I guess. I'm trying to figure out who's all related to each other, because especially in some of our smaller churches, it is often the case that quite a few people are related, and maybe distant relatives and married in-laws and things like that. And so it's, when I come into a church, sometimes I might be the only person who's not related to anybody in the church, except for now I bring my own family with me, so at least I have someone that I'm related to. But that's always, that's kind of the flip side, is sometimes when we are so focused on treating the people who are in our church like family, we forget to include those who are coming into our churches. And that's always our hope, is that people are drawn into the church and drawn into this community and into the new life that Christ offers. And so we always want to make sure that when we are treating people like family, we are treating everyone like family. And we are especially treating those who are new to our community of faith, new to the church, as someone who is beloved, as someone who is worthy of our time and of our attention, and their needs matter to us. And I think that's the number one thing when I talk to people about, why come to this church? When I do new member classes, one of the questions I ask is, what brought you here? What makes you want to be a member of this church? And I will tell you, very, very rarely, if at all, is it because, I love the pastor and I love what the pastor is doing. They might like what I'm doing as the pastor, but that's usually not the case of why they want to join the church. 9 times out of 10, and even maybe higher than that, 9.5 times out of 10, it has to do with the people of the church and feeling like they are wanted, that they are included, that they value, that they matter. And so it's all about the community, really, that's the value that we bring for people, and what keeps them at the church and what keeps them involved is feeling like there's a place for them here. And so that's something that I really want us to think about and focus on as we continue to move forward, as we continue to become more open as a church, as people are going to be able to find their way here, that we are intentional about reaching out to the people that we see that maybe we have not noticed before, maybe we haven't seen in a really long time or at all, and to make them feel welcome, to make them feel that it is not an accident that they have come to our church, that there is a place for them here, that they belong here. That is not just my job, that is the job of all of us, to be that community, to treat people with love and respect, to treat them as we would treat our own family. And hopefully we're treating our own families well. That's the assumption I'm making here, is that we are treating our families well, that we're not treating someone and telling them what to do, and as a parent might have to tell their children, but to say your happiness and your faith matter to me. And so how can I come alongside you in this journey? And we have, one of the things I love about the church that we're in is that we have this beautiful array of people of all ages, of different backgrounds, of different experiences. And that is such a wealth for us, because it allows us to connect with whoever is walking through the door, that there should be someone in our walls that can connect with them, that can see them for who they are, that can understand what they're going through and walk with them in that journey. There is a wealth of spiritual maturity in this church that I find really wonderful. And so, that's something for us to use and to share with one another. If you've been in this church for a really long time, if you've been a Christian, all of your life, if you've gone through some things in your life, you have a wealth of experience and a wealth of Christian maturity that you can offer to someone who's walking in that door for the first time. So to treat people like family, to treat people with the love and respect that God calls us to, is to open ourselves up and to allow God to use us as we are, who we are, to speak into someone else's life and to be a source of hope and a source of joy and a source of support and encouragement for those that find their way here, and maybe again for the first time. I was just really struck by this passage and by that kind of call that we all have, and that's really what we're doing. We say that our mission statement is making disciples of Jesus, equipping disciples, making disciples, and how we do that is investing in the lives of others, is reaching out to people and helping them grow in their faith and in their faith journey. And that's not just my job. My job is to help equip you. My job is to help you in that process, help you to feel confident, or at least be willing to take the risk to reach out, to be open to what God is calling you to do, and be open to who God is putting in your path, because you just never know. And I want to share a story about a time where God put someone in my path, and I didn't know what was going to come of that, or what God was trying to do or accomplish through me, but God did something, and this is something that happened back when I was in high school. So when I was in high school, I was a new Christian, and I was, pretty on fire for God and trying to figure out my faith, and I worked at the local grocery store in town, and I was a checker, and a lot of the other teenagers that worked at the store were they often would bag the groceries and then carry them out to the car. So I worked not in like a Hy-Vee, but in I had to type in all of the prices, and we didn't have a scanner. I literally typed in everything, and we didn't people couldn't take the carts out of the store. And so the people who bagged your groceries also then carried them out to your car for you, which was, a pretty nice thing. And so a lot of the other kids that were, kind of close to my age usually had that job. How I ended up with a trucker job, I'm not really sure. I'm grateful because I didn't have to carry as much stuff. But there was a girl who was a year older than me, and she got a job at the grocery store. So we would work together from time to time. And she was someone who was really shy, really quiet, and she was sort of alternative in the way that she dressed. If you know the store Hot Topic in the mall, she would wear really baggy pants and black shirts and band shirts and things like that. But I would try to make conversation with her because, it made the time go by at work, and she seemed like a nice enough person. But I also realized that we had the same study hall in school. And I remember one day, the study hall was basically all kids my age. And like I said, she was a year older than me. And she was kind of sitting off to herself. And I knew her a little bit from work. And so one day in study hall, I just went over to her. She was wearing a shirt of a band that I knew of because I had a cousin who liked that band. And I said, "Oh, hey, is that so-and-so on your shirt? That's pretty cool. Like, are you working later today?" Just really basic conversation, which is sort of unusual for me. You might not think that, but at the time, I'm not terribly outgoing, but I don't know. There was just something in me that was like, you just need to go talk to her. She's sitting by herself, and, no one else is engaging her. And so I just made really simple conversation and said things like, "Are you working later? Maybe I'll see you," that kind of thing. And from that, we started to be friendly. And over the course of that year, we actually became friends, and she became one of my closer friends. So much so that I would spend my lunch times with her. And for my 17th birthday, she and I went down to Omaha and went to the zoo and things like that. It was really fun. And she told me when she graduated, she wrote me a letter, and she said, "I don't know if you're going to remember this, but last year you came and talked to me during study hall one day." And she didn't really say, it wasn't, like I said, any sort of profound conversation, but she said, "That really changed my life because I really felt so alone that I was ready to end it all. But you came and talked to me, and you said that you were going to be looking out for me at work, later that day. And it caused me to not go through with my plan." That's pretty huge. That's pretty huge. I had no idea. I had no idea that she had felt that way. I had no idea that day. I had no idea as we became friends that any of that had happened. I had no idea what God was doing when I went over there that day. And I believe now that it was the Holy Spirit that was nudging me, saying, "Hey, she's sitting by herself. Why don't you just go try to make conversation? Why don't you go say something about her shirt?" She today is married and has a kid and is doing incredibly well and is very happy. Has a career now. And to think that might not have happened because if I had just ignored what God had pushed me to do, treating her like a friend, treating her like family. And I would say that I really, throughout the rest of high school, considered her like family to me. She was one of my closest friends. So you just never know. And and sometimes we think that it has to be really profound, the things that we're saying, that, God, I can't go talk to that person. I don't know what to say. You think that it has to be some amazing thing. It doesn't. Sometimes it's just seeing someone. Sometimes it's just taking those few moments to really give that person your attention. That can make a huge difference in someone's life. That can be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. That friendship blessed me so much when I was in high school. She was such a wonderful friend and confidant, and I loved working with her. I loved when we had shifts together. We had so much fun that I'm grateful. I'm grateful that friendship happened. And I'm grateful that she's still around. I'm grateful that God did that. I don't know at the time that I would have said that that was a God thing, if that was a God moment. I didn't really talk about things in that way before, but looking back on it, 100%, that was a God moment, and I didn't know. So you never know. You never know the little things that you do that can make a huge difference in someone's life. You never know inviting someone to sit with you at church when they're looking around going, I don't know where to sit. I don't know anybody. Turning around during God moments and saying, can I share with you where I saw God this week? Instead of just talking to the person that maybe you live with, maybe turning around and including someone new in that conversation. All of these things are ways that we can begin to treat people like family, and ways that we can begin to have those deep God-centered relationships with people, because that is what a church is built on. We are a community of faith. We are meant to live out our faith in community. We are not meant to live our faith alone. And so as tempting as it is in this last year, we've kind of felt like that's what we've been doing. I can tune in to watch the service online in my pajamas, drinking my coffee, and then you kind of, before you know it, it's been a year before you've seen anyone in the church. And we get that had to be, and for some, that still has to be the reality. And we're going to continue to provide that. But, if you're staying at home, because it's a whole lot easier to stay in your pajamas than to get up and come to church with other people, worshiping with other people, I would encourage you to come, because we're meant to do this together. We're meant to do our faith together. We're meant to live it out together. We're meant to encourage one another. And so it might be that you don't have any needs that you need met right now, which I'm going to actually probably say that we probably all have needs right now that need to be met. And that number one need being each other, just getting to see each other's faces. I'm a strong introvert, but man, did I miss people in this last year. But two, someone else might have needs that you need to meet. That part of the church is that you come into the community when you have needs, so that we can be there for you, that we can support you, that we can love you, that we can help you and journey with you. But also then when you are good, it's your turn to journey with someone else. It's your turn to walk with someone else. It's your turn to be that support and encouragement for someone else. And so it might be tempting to think, I'm good right now. Like, I'm good with being at home. I'm good with all of this. I don't really need, anyone's support in my life currently, which again, I think is probably not true, but we might think that. But even if we do think that, someone else might need you. Someone else might need you to include them. Someone else might need you to encourage them. Someone else might need you because you are the person that they are going to connect with. And if you aren't here, how are they going to connect with you? And so, again, we are all connected. We are all, like I said, children of God. We are all part of this church together and have work to do. I've been doing a Bible study on Sunday afternoons on Zoom, which if you're interested in being a part of that, you are more than welcome. Just let me know. And we have been going through the lectionary readings for the year. And so lately I've been preaching on the words of Jesus, so we haven't been following the lectionary in our services, but in the Bible study I have been. And this last week, one of the passages was from Paul's letter to the Ephesians, and in chapter 2. Now, the really popular part of the passage is that we have been saved by grace through faith. It is not something that we do or earn, but it is a gift of God through Jesus Christ, which is absolutely true, 100% accurate. But my favorite verse is the following verse that says, for we are Christ's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. We all have things that God has prepared for us to do. We all have good to put into this world that God created us to do. And if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it, because God made us for that purpose. And so every person in this church has a role, has a purpose, has good that is their assignment to do, which God prepared for them to do. And that includes you. So I hope that as we start to open up more and more as the church, as we start to live into the new reality that Christ is guiding us into, I hope that you also are ready to embrace the role that God has prepared for you. And my hope is that we will engage as a church fully into the work of discipleship. One of the reasons that we are looking at streamlining some of our governance things, which you're going to hear me talk about. And for some of you, you might be like, this is the most boring thing I've ever heard. I don't really care. For others, you might be like, what is happening? And that's okay. But I want to try to be as open about the process and why we're going through the process, and that it is a process that's going to take a little bit. But part of the reasoning behind it is we want to move away from a system that has a lot of meetings where we're talking about the work of the church, and we want to get as many people involved in the work of the church. And so we have less meetings about the planning and the business and make those more efficient so that we can take the bulk of the church and instead of putting them in meetings, putting them in ministry. Because you are the ministers. I'm the pastor, but one of the things we talked about really early on in this podcast was this imagery of I'm like the coach of the football team, which, I mean, is a funny image because don't ever put me as the coach of a football team. But the idea is that you are the ones that are called to do the work, to do this good work. My calling, my good work is to support you and to guide you and to help you to accomplish the goals that God has for you. I kind of am a little bit removed in that my work is to invest in you, and your work is to do the work of ministry in our church and in our community. And so I want us to have the best opportunity to do that and to plug as many people in where God is calling them, because again, I believe that God has that purpose, that good work that God has prepared for you to do, whatever it is that's going to bring and feed life into you, into your soul, that's going to make you light up and make you passionate and be like, this, I really care about, I really want to do this. And it's going to make you feel like you are part of the kingdom, part of making this world better. You know, as the United Methodists, we all share in the mission of making disciples for Jesus Christ, for the transformation of the world. And God has laid something on your heart. And I want to spend time figuring out what that is and how we can partner with you to make that happen. There's something that God has called you to, some mission, some need in this world that God has made you passionate about. And I want to find the best way to be able to let you accomplish that. And so that's part of the reasoning for kind of shifting our structure a little bit so that we can do the business of the church a little bit more efficiently, and so that we can plug the most people into ministry that they are passionate about, that God has prepared for them, because we have a lot of people and we can do incredible things, and we have done incredible things. I just think we can do even more. And it's, again, not about doing good works so that we are saved. It's about doing these good works that God has prepared for us, because God saved us not so that we would be saved from something. God saved us for a purpose. God saved us so that we would be free to do what God has called us to do, so that we would be free to live the life that God had planned for us to live, so that we would be free to be fulfilled in our hearts and souls, and so that our life would have meaning and purpose. I mean, I think that's ultimately what we're all looking for, what we're all aspiring to, is to be fulfilled, to feel like we're making a difference, to know that we're making the difference in someone's life, many people's lives, in our community and in our world. And so I think that all kind of ties in and goes back to we do that in the community of the church, in the family. It starts with treating people with love and respect, treating ourselves that way, and knowing that there is something for each of us to be doing. God has prepared it. God has made it possible. And Jesus is setting up his kingdom that way. That's how we work together. We are family now, called to love and care for one another, and to invite more and more people into that family, and to allow for them to find the freedom to experience a life of purpose and grace and love. So, man alive, I hope you enjoy these kind of rambling podcasts that happen every once in a while, but these are some of the things that are on my mind as I am working through Scripture and working through the different things and commitments that I have within the church, which has just been so much fun. I've loved having that Sunday school class. I love teaching confirmation and getting to engage with our youth. I love the sermon series we've been doing, and I'm so excited for the one that's coming up for Easter on Dare to Dance again. It's going to be joyful and fun. We are going to be needing to prepare the sanctuary for Easter. So if you are around the Saturday prior to Easter, so between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, and you have some time, would you shoot me a note or give me a call, because I've got some things that I want to accomplish that day in preparing the church, and that includes praying over our church. We're going to be moving back to those 2 services on Easter Sunday, and I would love to have some people come in, some to help me with some physical decorations and sanctuary design planning things, but also some people that come in to pray over our space, to pray over those who are going to be coming in and experiencing the Easter message. And so if those sound like things that you want to be a part of, let me know. I don't have a time nailed down just yet, but it will have to be that Saturday because I can't decorate for Easter on Good Friday, and I need it for Easter morning, so that leaves me Saturday. So just to know that that's coming up. Again, we are moving back to 2 services starting Easter at 9 and 10:30. We are bringing back children's messages this week, this coming Sunday, the 21st. So I'm excited about that. I don't know, it might just be my 2 boys up there, but we're going to have some fun with it. And we're just going to keep moving forward. That's our hope. That's our goal. God is doing some pretty amazing things here, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope that you are too. I hope that you're seeing it too, that you're seeing what I'm seeing, because it's amazing. And I just look forward to where we're going to go from here, because the sky's the limit, right? With God, all things are possible. And so it's going to be great. I feel like that's probably all I have for today. I hope that you're doing well. Join us for worship this Sunday at 10 o'clock, either online, you can find us through our website, or on YouTube, or come in person. I know we might have a few less people. We've got some traveling out to Rapid City to support our Yankton sports teams that made it to state. So we want to wish them safe travels. But for the rest of you, come on by. We'd love to see you. Wear your masks, and we're going to have a good time. All right, God bless. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a video and audio podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. You can join us for worship Sundays at 10 a.m., either online at www.firstumcyankton.org or in person with our safety protocols in place. We do require masks and social distancing. We hope to see you in worship. God bless.